Well, I need to welcome you back, and we'll see what the big story for today. And we're talking about the 8-point agenda of turnaround, I rather call it that way, of the economy. And well, that agenda was put forward by no other person but President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday during the inaugural meeting of the Federal Executive Council, and a lot was said during that very meeting. But looking at that 8-point agenda of economic growth is what this edition of the big story is all about. But I will still have him right here. I'm talking of no other person but economist, Comrade FM&TV, helping out with looking at these different angle that would be taken by this administration to see how it can really turn around an economy that's having 77 trillion naira in debt, and sluggish growth put about 2.65%. And not only that, but also having an inflation rate put about 24.32%. Quite high, you agree. But anyway, still talking about it is what we enjoy right here on the platform. But before we continue, let's quickly go get a message from our sponsors. And we're talking about Benita Gas, located right here in Ughelli or Kokoko, and definitely Warrior and Environs. And when we come back, come on, we need to talk some more.
Hey, Willikity, how person want to talk about gas matter? Make Beneta gas plant no sit down for it matter. Gas when we say it dey light and last well. Now Beneta gas plant na filamo. Gas when the full rich mark pek. Now Beneta gas plant na filam, and for any type and size of gas cylinder plus all accessories. Now Beneta gas plant na the touch lighter. Now every day now Beneta gas plant they open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. on top refill matters. Oh yeah, make you visit any Beneta gas plant branch. You fit enter inside of Kwisoko of JBA for PTI Road Efru, Nehemiah Junction near former Army checkpoint for Okwokoko, or 101 Ajami Moga Ekpe Road, Warri, or 145 Ughelli Patani Expressway by Advisory Junction when carry eye they look Shikiman, and NNPC roundabout for East Soko Road for Sergeant Quarters for Ughelli. For more information, make you call Beneta Gas Plant for 080-6745-7890. Beneta Gas Plant. Na God, they our back.
Well, you know, the big story is big enough to accommodate all your businesses. So the best place to put it is put it right here on the Big Story on Quest. But anyway, let's continue with the big story. Like I said, and we're talking about President Tinubu's 8-point agenda of economic growth. And we've really, before now, we talked greatly about that assertion, saying that they made really a bad economy, especially coming from the past administration, or more like an indictment. But anyway, they will not be sticking to it and ensuring that they go through that route, because like I said, they will not be leaning on borrowing to see how they can really deal with some basic infrastructural developments in the country. But anyway, as much as we're looking at that, let's look at other angles as being taken by no other but the coordinating minister of the economy, and we're talking of Adewale Edu. Now, like he said again that another angle in turning around the economy will be the issue of job creation. And funny enough, the issue of job creation has been in the news lately. Since the MBS, the National Bureau of Statistics, released the statistics last week, that's generated a lot of controversy and debate that I fear would last for a very lifetime. Well, anyway, don't mind me about that though. And all is centered on saying that unemployment stood at 5.3% in the fourth quarter of 2022 and improved to 4.1% in the first quarter of 2022. And that any Nigerian working within for 1 hour is employed. But I don't want us to employ that as our basis of our discussion, though. I rather would want us to look at the issue of job creation and how can that be done by this administration to say it will create 50 million jobs in 3 years.
Oh, that's a very tall order, Mike. 50 million jobs in 3 years. That's not a key.
To help turn around the economy.
Yes. Now you have made that statement. We now see how to achieve that goal.
Is it achievable?
That is where we are going.
I know you said it's a tall order, but if really implemented, he talked about in his campaigns and the early half of this administration, he talked about going into digital economy to see how it can really help to translate and create more of that jobs.
If we go into digital economy, that 50 million is achievable and even more. Yes, because that area you cannot fully explore that area at all. IT rules the world today.
Okay.
And you cannot exhaust it.
Okay.
If we are able to actually actually diversify our economy into that area, we will do a lot of things. Our Nigerian youths are very, very creative. You cannot take it from them. They are among the, if not the first 3, or the first 5 in the world, if they have the scenario of that is the working environment.
Yeah,
they will achieve, they will do it. If they want to create that 50, even 100 million jobs, the only thing they need to do is to settle the epileptic sector of power. Okay. Once you do that, and everybody can on their own do 1 or 2 things, then give them the open.
So now the MBS is not lying on the statistics to say about 5% of employment is self-based.
They're not lying about that.
Okay.
They're not lying about that.
Okay.
Because how many people can the public sector employ? How many, like, even, I don't want to mention it, but within our locality here,
yes,
each office, that is each desk, your position, has about 5 people on it. Okay. Some of them will not even come to work. Some of them will come and be hanging around. Some of them become layabouts. Some of them are they call them working managers. From table to table, just look at what people are doing and go. They are being paid. Now, you cannot say that one is an employment because they are not generating anything to help the economy. Rather, they are siphoning from the economy because they are being paid for what they did not do. But if you divert the attention of the government from the public to the private sector with some tax relief forms, and give them the power supply. Look at common. I would not use the word common because this is my where I'm domiciled.
Yeah.
The Isoko where I come from, one of the brightest tribes in the world.
Well,
you know.
I'll put that to you.
A secondary school child was able to produce an helicopter that moves.
Okay.
So if you encourage such a person, what do you think that person will do? Now, what happened to all the brains we have in the South is because they are very creative. They are more into commercials. If they could produce vehicles that other countries can import, if they could produce most of these machineries, tell me the machinery that they cannot produce in the East. Open up that economy, give them terms of reference on what they should do, and you see them perform. Go to the North. What are you good at? We are good at planting.
So all of these can only come if the government fully engages them.
Exactly.
So the policy now will be channeled towards how to engage them.
How to engage these people? What do you want? Like we have the National Orientation Office. What is their job mainly? They can come to Otogo.
But that agency have been emerged with a whole lot of controversy, especially as not giving to the public a full knowledge of what the government is doing. So should we go through that route or route? National
somebody must know where that problem is coming from and how to tackle it. If this place was a swamp, where this building is, it was a swamp. But because the man who took it over, our amiable MD, knew what to do. What do I do? Okay, let me fill this place to a point that it cannot go down again. He did, and he built it. Is the house not standing now? If you put somebody who is knowledgeable in that field, somebody was asking me 2 months ago when I was in Abuja, that if they make if they make you minister of or in charge of NOA, if you put in charge of NOA, what do you do? I talked there. He said no. So many school children are out of school. Why don't you interview them why they're out of school? Why don't you go to their parents and explain to the parents why they must be in school? Why don't you explain to the parents the importance of education?
So it's reaching out to them individually.
Exactly. Then at that point, you have seminars and everywhere. If you can't go to the North as it is today, let them know the importance of what education is. Now, you were into granite. That was one of the finest products we had in the early stage of this country. Why did it die? Who killed it? Why was it killed? Revive all these things. And okay, what do you want to survive? This is what I need, this is what I need. Give it to them. Definitely there will be Judas among them. Definitely there will be betrayers. But one
thing... So you're not quite sure of 100%, but...
Yeah, at the initial stage you can never achieve. Even in life, you can't achieve 100%. You can never achieve 100% in life till you die. There is no gainsay about it. Nobody does it. Even Awolowo that tried it, at the end of the day, he said, I've achieved everything, apart from one, which is the presidency. And my life is a continuum. Anywhere I go after this place, I will become president over there. He made that statement in 1990.
Let's leave whether he is a president where he is.
Yes, he's here to until you get there before you can know. Well, he made that statement in 87, and he never survived that 87, if you remember. Yeah. So nobody achieves 100%. But by the time you give somebody a goal, what is a goal? A destination with an arrival time. I give you 2 years. How many years do you need for this? Okay, I need 1.5 years to master it. I give you 2 years. Give me report and give me result. How many years do you need? Set time frame for them. Give them standard. Give them reference point. Give them somebody that will monitor what is actually going on. And make sure that you that is even monitoring them is also reporting to a panel. So the reporting chain must be there. So if you want to go diversify into the IT world, it is an open-ended investment area. You have even no transport into it.
Okay.
Is there any way you can roll out vehicles that will be enough to carry transportation? Is there any way you can roll out communication outfit that will satisfy the whole Nigerians? It continues growing. And even now, we have people who will carry this.
So you mean the government is looking really at the right direction?
They are looking at the right direction.
Looking at that. But my next question will be, now, do you feel job creation will really help grow an economy that is projected to grow only 2.65% in 2023? Do you see job creation really turning that around?
Job creation is number one. The next thing is to fill it with the right people. The issue of I beg put and then my person and there is not somebody to fill it. If we're able to eschew that,
yes,
and we have the right people, we have those who can see tomorrow in Nigeria. They are most of them are not employed because they don't have anybody to pull them up the ladder. So the job creation will help solve a lot of all these things we are talking about. It will pull us out of the economy. If most Nigerians are working, if let us assume 70% of Nigerians are working, don't you think that crime rate will reduce? Don't you think that a social dislocation will almost be out of it? Because when you have something doing, you will not think of committing crime. And when you don't commit crime, everywhere becomes safe. And if everywhere becomes safe, investment
will definitely thrive. Okay, now let's leave that, but still talk about investment, because we're still looking, in case you're joining us, we're looking at the 8-point agenda plan of this administration in not only creating jobs like we've talked about, but also growing the economy. And that agenda plan is what we're really looking at today on The Big Story. And we're talking about that 8-point agenda plan as we're critically looking at it one after the other to see whether it will really help to really turn around the economy. Now, let's look at another major one he made mention of, especially as he read out those very major that he feels will be needed to change the economy of this great nation. And he talked about access to capital for medium and large-scale enterprises. And he talked about this. But, excuse me, it has always been a factor by successive administration, and we're talking about lack of access to capital for SMEs and others. And many successive administrations in this country have tried to conquer that. And this administration said they need to improve and turn the economy around, knowing that the biggest challenge faced by most SMEs in Nigeria is the limited access to traditional funding sources. Especially many SMEs do not have collateral or credit history required to secure loans or other types of financial banking from the financial institution. So my next question is, now how can they do that? How can they increase access to loans by SMEs? Because we do know that SMEs are the one that truly grows the economy. And whereby small, medium-scale enterprises seem to lack in a country, well, you're just good as doing nothing and putting the economy at a road to retrogression. So let's look at it. How can they really improve access to capital by most SMEs and other large-scale businesses?
Yes, it is a bit difficult, but very, very doable.
A bit difficult. So we're admitting it.
Yes.
And that's why successive administration have not been able to conquer that monster.
So many microfinance banks, so many community banks.
We have them. Cooperatives.
Yes. No. I say so many of them died because they gave loans to those that they could not trace. Like the collaterals you mentioned just now.
Okay.
When I was in Lagos, I was in a microfinance bank, yes, together with community bank. 80% of the loans given were to meat sellers and tomato sellers. How do you trace those people? All those money went down the drain. They never recovered any till date. And that company successfully folded up.
So that you feel that has been the bane of the problem?
It's a bane of the problem. So many banks are afraid to give loans to such people. Then if you want to actually solve that problem, don't give loans to individuals. Give loans to cooperative bodies.
Okay.
Like the thrift bodies, something multi-couple, Corporation and Thrift Association, things like that. Okay. Give that money to them. Then you hold the management, the leadership of that body accountable for any loan that they could not retrieve from the lenders. So
you feel they'll do a better job?
They will do a better job because they know the people to the grassroots. Okay. You seated at the top in the AC, don't know them. All you know is so body has come to apply for 10 million, 20 million, 50 million naira loans. investigate the players of that body. And if they are home and dry, give them that money, and how you intend to recover the money back from these people. It is not stated. Yes, should be stated. The terms of the conditions, everything should be stated in that document. Then when it is time for you to recover, you are not going to them individually. Go to that head. You are owing me this, I need this money. Like what they do in most of these money lending houses. Like, if I mention the name, will I not be advertising them?
You might just be
advertising them. Yes, and they did not pay.
And they did not. And we might hold you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're talking of
then I will not hold you for bringing.
Okay, well, anyway, just go ahead.
Now, those people, they have plain-clothes uniform men. Once your loan expires on the 1st of September, on the 2nd, you've not come and pay. On the 2nd, they are in your house with the police. They will carry you from there, take you to the office. There is a room.
But Comrade Damo, you're now talking about loan facilities for really small-scale enterprises, businesses rather. I'll not put them as enterprises. But we also do know that most banks do not give loans to very existing businesses. And even if they do, the demand itself is really sometimes, forgive my language, outrageous. So how can we do that bottleneck? Because what we're talking about really very small-scale businesses. But we're talking about companies that want to either expand, and by expansion, creating more jobs for the people, and not just only creating more jobs, but adding value to an economy that truly needs it. So how can the banks, I'm talking about commercial banks, be made to be a part of this and see how access to small-scale and medium-scale enterprises get to them?
Have you heard of this word, BOFID? Banking under financial institution decree. You do use that in the military.
Okay.
But in the civilian regime, you use banks and other financial institution act.
Okay.
That is being regulated by the CBN.
Okay.
If they are in every of your budget, allocate a percentage to funding these businesses and make sure they monitor it to the letter. If you don't do that, then you should be sanctioned. Because it is you achieve commerce either through by force or through by persuasion. If you persuade them to do and they refuse to do, you can force them to do.
So are you saying the commercial banks are not sticking to that?
They are not sticking to that. And like you just rightly said, we have approached a bank for a facility. If you approach them for a facility of 50 million, even the BM, sending them will tell you, my loan is 5 million out of the 50 million. You've not even given that loan. You've not even started investing that money. And you've already removed 5 million. How much are you putting into the economy? And they will tell you there is something they call maintenance fees, management fees, clinical fees. At the end of the day.
So a streamline of all of these will really help to encourage.
Exactly. If you streamline all of this and you enforce and empower both people to do their jobs, and they start monitoring these people, make sure your loan portfolio, so percentage is allocated to so sector, and they are seen to be following it. And the credit department of all these banks are up and doing by knowing and are following those who have come for the loan, the borrowers, and actually know what they are doing with the money. Yeah. Are you actually giving it to the right owners or not? If you are, credit to you. If you are not, then let the bank be sanctioned.
Okay. Now, another major one that he also talked about is improving security, which for me would have rather come first in attaining a total change and turnaround. And I'm happy enough you spoke about that shortly or briefly when we talked about the initial food security. And security has really took a major nosedive during the last administration. And in the last 8 years, we had about 63,111 persons killed. And this is according to Nigerian Security Tracker.
Recorded figures.
Yeah, recorded. And I would really want to state it that they even said it would even be higher because underreporting was really impaired that very number. But they feel it's a bit higher. So what song or new strategy should be employed to deal with it by this administration?
There is no major crime in the world that the government of the day does not know about, unless they want to pretend to it. No major crime. And you remember our dark-goggled former military president, Abacha, said if any riot lasts for more than 24 hours, it is the government-sponsored insecurity. So if we want to actually get out of this quagmire we find ourselves, the number one thing we should do is to establish a duplex communication system within the government. And what do I mean by duplex communication system? If you have an information, you feed the government with information. The government should be able to treat that information with the highest level of secrecy. The government should also come back to the people. The government should address these people on a quarterly basis, telling us what to do and what they are doing. telling us our role in curbing insecurity. Okay. Now, look at the hierarchy of reporting in the security system in Nigeria.
Architecture.
Yes. If there is any major upheaval in Ughelli today, he will call the area command, or the DPO to area command to the commissioner to the AIG to the IG. Before the IG gives order, they will have finished what they are doing. But
you feel that long chain of command
is a problem.
Should be looked into.
Yeah, they should look into it. And to let some of these communities, not even some of these communities, the communities that have the men to bring out their own internal security forces like the vigilante, but that is
so
local
are you taking us back to community policing and state policing?
And the state we are now, we cannot do without it. You cannot bring somebody from Abuja, a policeman, or even a military base from Abuja to come and start checking the security here, where they don't know the nooks and crannies of the area. It is the local vigilante, or the local policing, as we will call it, that will have to do that job and feed the police. The police will in turn feed the higher authority. The end result is, do not witch hunt those who are not supposed to be touched. Because
but another major problem is the confidentiality of information gathering and giving out information. How really important is that? Because the recent IGP created a new system whereby you can freely send in issues of reporting of police, errand officers, or even giving information that will help in dealing with crime. And he did that just 2 weeks back. And it was one move that was greatly applauded by a whole lot of Nigerians.
Yes.
So don't you feel that if improved on, can also deal with the issue of information? Because you do agree with me that in every other climate, every other country, citizens are so saddled with that responsibility of giving out that needed information that will make the security expert work, because they are no magicians. But in this country it lacks, and because of that deep mistrust between the citizens and those that
the security apparatus
of taking those needed information.
Yes, I said it before, but if you continue relying on that, then you will not move forward. If you say there is a thorn on your way to your destiny, you will not achieve anything. Okay. I do heard something when somebody said, on your way to destiny, everybody along your way is a suspect. Your mother, your father, your wife, your children, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, they are all suspects on your way to destiny until you get to your destination.
Well, Comrade Odoma, I suspect we've really taken much time.
So we
need to go on a break now, and I'll plead with you to hold on. But when we come back, we'll continue our discussion centered on the 8-point agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in helping to turn the country around.